So I'm working on a Fisher FVH 4901, and I have a few issues here. So the first issue is, so that's the drum motor, and it's spinning, and it's making a weird clicky sound, and it's not spinning fast enough. And so I think that might be an issue with the capacitors that are around the driver, the sample and the hold capacitors. So that's one problem. The other problem is with the capstan motor. So this is the capstan motor right here, and it's spinning erratically. Well, not erratically, but it's spinning slow, and it's spinning kind of robotic. It's not spinning smoothly, and I think it has something to do with this as well too, right? Because I think the two of them sort of feed off one another. So there's a bunch of capacitors on this board. So that's the driver board, and there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 capacitors, and I measured the resistance between the capacitors, and I got 3 of them. The first 3, I don't know if I'm going to try to zoom in, and so these are the capacitors that I was talking about. I'm going to try to get it without, so those capacitors, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one over here, and then a little bit further over there is another capacitor right here. Alright, let me see if I can zoom. So the other capacitor is the one over here. I don't know what so that's like the 5th capacitor. Yeah, I don't know what the capacitance is of those capacitors, but like I said, this one is good. This one over here is good. These 3 are good. Let me just fix the focus, because for some reason my automatic focus is not working. These are good. These 3 are good. This one over here, it's showing a resistance. I mean, it's showing. It should be almost infinite, the resistance, but it's showing an non-infinite resistance. Okay, so I'm going to measure those, and let's see what we get. So I'm going to get my trusted. Let me see if I can get that into the picture a little bit. All right. Just turn on the light so we can see what we're getting. So if I measure, let me just unplug this first. Okay, so if I measure the first capacitor, you can see the resistance. So about 3 mega ohms. That capacitor, about 3 mega ohms as well too. That capacitor, infinite, right, going to about 3. And if I measure this capacitor, why is the light turning off? Didn't ask for it to turn off. So it's measured 629.8 ohms. So that might be a leaky capacitor. And then this one over here, the last capacitor, it's showing infinite, or 6 mega ohms. Right, so that one is leaky. I don't know what that is. I'm going to see if I can take a look at the data sheet and see what it is. I was actually, and then there's another capacitor over here as well too. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see that capacitor. Alright, so let me fix the focus. Let's go about right there. Okay, so that's that capacitor right here. is I'm going to take off that capacitor off there and just measure it as well too. I think that might be a problematic capacitor. And so I'm going to turn on my soldering iron and get things, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my soldering iron, and while I wait for the soldering iron, I'm going to give you an example of what I'm going through here. Okay, so step back a little bit. Okay, so let me turn this around. I plugged it in. So I plugged in the VCR, and I'm going to turn it on now. Let's move this camera around so I can show. So I turned it on. Why didn't it? Okay, there we go. Right. So it's turned on, and okay, let's put a tape in. Let me find a tape. So I have a tape here, Nutty Professor. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to show you what happens when the tape is in. Okay, so I'm going to put the tape in so that you can see what happens when I just zoom in a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So this is what happens. See how the drum is not spinning very fast? And it actually stopped. Let me turn it on again. Weird. There we go. And it's not retracting back properly, and it's leaving some tape for me to take out of the mechanism. Alright, so as you can see, the drum motor is not spinning like it should. It should be spinning a lot faster than that. Spinning very, very slow. Okay, and so let me turn it around to the other side so that you can see what's going on, because so that's what is going on with, let me just zoom in a little bit so that you can see this better. Okay, and let's zoom in. Alright, so see how that servo is moving kind of robotically. Let me try to, okay, so it's not doing what it should be doing. Okay, and the drum motor is, the reason why you're seeing that flickering is because it's the filament is operating at 24 frames per second, and so you're gonna get that flickering, right? In real time, it doesn't look like that, and so yeah, that's a problem. So I believe that that is probably leaky, and then the capacitor that I mentioned that was on that side, let me turn it around to the original side that I had it on. Yeah, that capacitor, I think that capacitor is leaky. So I don't know what the capacitance is of that. I don't know what the value is, but I'm going to try to figure it out and replace it. So I think those are the two things that are troubling on this board. So like I said, I'm going to get my soldering iron. So I'm going to just unplug this. Alright, I'm going to get my soldering iron fired up. Oh, okay, you know what? I just noticed something. So this is the drum motor, and it looks like as if it has a built-in, has a bunch of capacitors on board. And I wonder if those are problematic. Alright, these might be the sample and hold capacitors. You know what? I'm going to take a look at those and see what kind of reading I'm getting, because that might be the problem. I'm going to pull this this drum out and try to get a reading from those capacitors, because that might be the issue. So let me so I'll do that in a little bit, but I got my soldering iron. I think it's hot enough now. Okay, so I'm going to remove, okay, let me make sure that things properly focused. Okay, so I'm going to remove this capacitor. Okay, actually I already played with it already, so that's why it came off so easily. So this capacitor is 33 microfarads, and so I'm going to get my ESR. Let me just zoom out. Okay, so I have my ESR meter, and I'm going to take a reading on this capacitor and see what I get. Alright, so can I get a good grip on this? Alright, let's see what it reads. What the hell? Did I not get a grip? There we go. Oops. There we go. So it's showing 34.32 microfarads and 9.3 ohms, which is extremely high. It should not be 9.3 ohms. When I look at data sheets online, it often says for a 10 volt capacitor, it should be about, I don't know, 7, I've seen anywhere between 28 to 70 milliohms. Okay, so this is like way off. So that might be part of the problem. I wish I knew what the capacitance were for the other ones, so that I can purchase the appropriate. Let's see if I can get a reading somehow. All right, so let's see, how can I do this? So I'm going to turn it around, turn the VCR around, and put it in a position where I can get easier access to it. Okay. Let's put this, bring this up a little closer. Alright, so okay, I'm gonna zoom in. Oh, it's already okay, there we go, it's zoomed in. Alright, well, let's see what's going on here. Let's see if I can get a reading. It's kind of hard to get a reading while you're in circuit, but who knows? Maybe I might be lucky. Zoom out. It's saying 1.13 microfarads, 22 ohms. But like I said, it's in circuit, so it's really, you're not going to get a proper reading while it's in circuit. Yeah, it's all saying I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I don't want to pull one out of circuit because these are usually glued down, and once you pull them out, it's just really hard to get them back in. All right. So I don't know. It's inconclusive as to what the capacitance of these ones are. I'll see if I can look up the board to see what the capacitance are. I don't know. See if maybe it's about 1 microfarad. I don't know. It's really hard to say. So these ones, the ones over on the drum motor, that was the capstan motor. So I'm looking over at the drum motor, and let me see if I can have a look. Okay, this one's 50 volts. 1 microfarad, 50 volts. It looks like they're all 1 microfarad, 50 volt. All 4 of those capacitors. So I'm gonna look into replacing those capacitors. They're all 1 microfarad, 50 volts. So I'm going to order a bunch of capacitors, and I'm going to try to figure out what those capacitors over there. I want to see if I can. Should never use manual mode. Yeah, so those capacitors, I'm going to try to figure out what those ones are. Okay, I'm assuming they're 1 microfarad as well, but who knows, right? Anyways, I'm gonna order some stuff and I'll get back. Okay, so I noticed that I had some 1 microfarad 50 volt capacitors in my stash. These are Rubicon capacitors, and they're high temperature capacitors. These are 105 capacitors, and it says low impedance, but when I measured them, I mean, they were just like regular impedance. I didn't see anything spectacular about the impedance of these. Just supposed to be low ESR, but I don't think they are low ESR. Okay, so I'm just gonna hook them up to my ESR meter. See if we can get. Let me just zoom out. Not getting enough light. Okay, so I have it hooked up to my ESR meter. Let me just put it on a spot. So I'm going to turn it on. I don't know if it's coming on camera, but it's showing 1.06 microfarad, 2.4 ohms. So nothing spectacular. For so much for a low ESR. So much for a low ESR capacitor, right? So I kind of figure that you can remove this. So I removed the ribbon cable already, and I sort of believe that you can probably remove this as well too. So I'm going to attempt to remove it. Okay, so I just wanted to make it a little bit brighter so that you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to remove this device. I don't know what that is. Okay, remove that. Put it over there. And there's 2 screws right here. Let me see if I can zoom in and get a better look. Alright. Yeah, there's 2 screws right here. So I'm going to remove those 2 screws. And this is at the back of the drum motor, by the way. So, and it's causing problems. So I'm hoping that it's just these capacitors that are the issue, and we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so let me just take this thing off. Okay, that comes off. It's magnetic, actually. No, it's not magnetic. I thought it was magnetic. Very lightly magnetic. Felt magnetic against this. And this is the magnetic windings. So there's 3 screws, so I'm going to remove this as well. So remove this screw. And remove this one. Okay, so that's 3 screws. All right. Okay, and the board comes out just like that. So this is the board, and then the back side of the board, it has a control. I guess that's the motor control, that chip there at the back of the board. I don't know if it's coming through on, let's see if it can come through on camera. Yeah, it's kind of hard to come through on camera, but there it is. Okay, so there's 4 capacitors, which there are typically on these motors, and I'm going to remove them one by one and see what we get. Okay. And so, like I said before, they're 1 microfarad and 50 volts. They're actually a lot smaller than, I don't know if they'll be able to fit, because they're, let me see, yeah, they're much, the ones that I bought are much bigger, so I don't know if they'll be able to fit. These are, let me see. See if they're all the same. They're 1 microfarad, 50 volts. Oh, this one is 4.7 microfarads, 25 volts. Okay. So there's, wow, what a difference in size. These are really tiny. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to fit these in. Let me see if I can make a measurement on some of them. Get my ESR meter out. Just put this away first. Okay, so let's take a look at the, let me see, what does it say? 4.7 microfarad and 25 volts. Let's take a look at that one first. See. Actually, let me get out my multimeter. See if you'll be able to get a reading with my multimeter. Okay, so let's take a look at this first. Let me just zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. Let's move this back a little bit. Alright. So I'm going to take a look at the 4.7 microfarad. 50 volts. Let me see if it's shorted out or not. Turn it on. is showing 628, 628.3 ohms. Okay, and let's take a look at one of the 1 microfarads, 50 volts. What's that one saying? 44.08 kilo ohms. Let's try another one of the 1 microfarad, 50 ohms. That one is showing 2.3 mega ohms. Like I saw with the other capacitors, that seemed to be okay. This one is showing, oh, that's weird. It wasn't showing. That one's okay. So the two 1 microfarad 50 volts seem to be okay. The 4.7 25 microfarad seems to be off. Okay, it's showing 628.3 ohms. And let's get the last one. Let's see, whereabouts is it? I think it's this one right here, these two right here. So that one seems to be okay as well too, a little bit more flaky. But the one that's reading 4.7 microfarad and 4.7 microfarad and 25 volts, that seems to be a little bit flaky. So I'm going to try removing it from the circuitry, and see if maybe I'll take both of them out. Let me get my solder sucker. Okay, because I'm not able to. Where is it? Okay, so let's see if that did the job. It's still in there pretty good. I'll try one more time. The solder sucker, and let's make sure that not the right. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's not making it easy. Maybe it's glued down. Maybe it's glued down. Try sucking it again. I think I got most of it with a solder sucker, but maybe I didn't. Try one more time. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, let's see if I can use a pair of pliers to pull it out. What the? Oh. Keeping this thing in place. Alright, so I pulled it out. Like I said, it was 4.7 microfarads and 25 volts. Let's see if I can see what the reading is on the ESR meter. 4.92 microfarads and 5.6 ohms. Okay. So and there's like a little bit of wet. It's wet under it. I think this one's leaky because it's wet. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just try to zoom it in. It's anyways, there's a, I don't know if I ended up bursting it from putting too much heat on it, but anyways, it's leaky right now. And so I definitely need to replace that one. Okay. So let me just put it on the, so that was with the ESR. Let's put it on here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to measure it with my multimeter. I have it set on ohms. And let's see what. Yeah, it's probably leaky. So I'm gonna have to find a replacement for it. I don't have any. I don't have any capacitors that are that size. So I mean, I have 4.7, but I have a 4.7 microfarad, but I'm just saying like the size of the actual capacitor. I don't know if I have that size. So I'm going to use my calipers to try to determine the size of this. And it looks like as if the width is about 4.69 millimeters, okay, give or take. And I'm assuming the lead width is probably about 2 millimeters. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can. I know I don't have. Anyways, yeah, I ended up. Yeah, I damaged it. I squeezed it and I damaged it. All right, so hence why when I was pulling it out, ended up damaging it. So I'm gonna see. Pulled too hard. And maybe it was just fragile to begin with. So I'm gonna see if I have a 4.7 microfarad and at least 25 volts. Okay, so I was able to find this capacitor. It's a 4.7 microfarad capacitor and it's 25 volts. I found it in my stash, and it looks like about that size. Yeah, it's about that size. It's the only difference is that the leads are probably 5 millimeters wide, but coming from the actual capacitor itself, it looks like as if it might be about 2 millimeters or maybe even less than that. So maybe I can kind of jerry rig and somehow get this capacitor in there. So let me try this. Okay, let me get this stuff out of the way. Actually, you know what, let me do a reading of this capacitor. Let me do an ESR reading. See what it is. Okay. Let's put on my ESR meter. I don't know if you can see it on camera. I'm going to zoom in. Look what it says. Alright. Okay. Let me just zoom in. There we go. So it says 5.11 microfarad and 3.6 ohms. And let's compare it to the one that I've just pulled out. There was probably nothing wrong with it to begin with. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Actually, 4.79 microfarad and 6.3 volts. So 6.3 ohms. Okay. Okay. 4.79. Okay, let me just do it again. Okay, so this is half the resistance. Okay, so let me put this in there. Okay, let me just find my clipper. So I'm going to replace this. I'm going to replace this capacitor. Okay. And let's see if okay. Okay, let me measure the resistance on my multimeter. Curious. Okay, I'm curious of what the resistance may be. Okay. Put this behind just to give it some. Okay. Okay. Let me turn that on so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is measuring. And it's increasing. Okay, hold on a second. So it's. Hold on a second. I just shorted it out by accident. Okay. So it just keeps on increasing. Okay, so it's in this one. This is the one that I pulled out. Hold on a second. Let's see what it shows. It's actually getting less and less. Right? So yeah, that was bad. I don't know if I accidentally caused that problem. So I'm going to put this one in and I'm going to solder it. And let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Where's my solder? Okay. Let me get my solder. Okay. Solder one end first, so I can get it in real good. Okay, so I got that end in, and so let me get the other end in. Okay. Let's see. Snip off the leads. Snip off the leads. This doesn't look like as if it's just this thing doesn't seem to wanna. There we go. Yeah, it seems to have a problem trying to focus. Okay, I think it's okay. Let's see, hopefully I didn't make any shorts or anything of that nature. I think it's okay. Let me just double check with my ESR meter. Okay, well it's showing in circuit, so I'm not going to get a proper reading. Alright, okay, so that's replaced. Okay, so let's put this back together again. So let's put this back together. Okay. Alright, so we start with this guy first. Oops, sorry, the wrong way. Okay, so let's put this back together. There. So I'll put this guy back in. Oh shoot, I have it the wrong way around. Okay, there we go. Alright, there, like that. And okay. No, yeah, so 3 screws go in here. Okay, so put these screws back. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's that, and the next piece that goes over is this piece, and it goes like this. There's this little thing right here. I don't know if you can see it. Alright, so let me just adjust the camera here. Alright. So there's this little piece right here. Let me see if I can adjust the focus properly. Okay. So there's this little thing right here. I don't know what this is, but I believe that it goes in between where the screws go. So as opposed to off. Okay, so I'm going to put it in like that. And then I'm going to okay, so down. What? It's sticking to it. Do I have it the wrong way? Doesn't seem to be directional. Okay, let me try this again. Oh, it just sucked it in. Let's see. Make sure that I get it in there without. Let's back this out a little bit. Get it in there. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And let's see. Okay. Where's the other screw? There's the other screw. Okay. Should I use this screwdriver to begin with? That one, the other one was not the right size bit. This seems to be the right size bit. Okay. There we go. That's 2 screws. And then this goes on top. Okay, so if you can see, I have a broken. Let me see. Try to move the camera over a little bit more. Let's zoom in. Okay. Zoom in. Okay, there we go. Somewhere around there. Okay. Yeah, it's just like a little too bright. Okay, so there, this. So this goes in here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, my lamp seems to be getting in the way. Doesn't want to cooperate. Just keeps on. Keeps on. Okay. Okay, so that's in. And let's put this back in. Okay, so I want to be able to test this before I, because it's going to be a while before I get the parts. Alright, so this was the capacitor that sat on the capstan motorboard. So it's 33 microfarads and 10 volts. I'm going to see if I can find a 33 microfarad capacitor somewhere. Hopefully I have something that I can use for the, as you know, until I get the proper part. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to find this a capacitor. So this capacitor is 4.7. No, actually, no. Sorry, it's 33 microfarads, and it's 6.3 volts. I think it's enough. I think the actual voltage that it's filtering is about 5 volts. So I think 6.3 volts might work. If not, then it will meet its demise. But anyways, I'm going to order a new capacitor, the right voltage anyway, but I'll just use this in the end term. So I'm going to install this. I'm going to get my trusted soldering iron out, and I'll install this and see how that works. Let's make sure. So it's 33 microfarads. Let's double check. Mm-hmm. 6.3 volts, 33 microfarads. Where is my? Let's give it a test with my ESR meter. Just compare the two, the one that I pulled out versus the one that I'm putting in, and let's see what we get. Okay, so this is the one that I'm going to put in. Okay, so we're getting 33.75 microfarads, and the ESR is 1.21 ohms. I don't remember what I got before for the other one, so let me just do it again. Okay, let's put it. Yeah, it's showing 34.48 microfarads, 8.7 ohms. So, wow, big difference. Big difference. So, I believe that was the issue the whole time. 8.7. That was it. So, 8.7 versus 1.3. That's significant. So, let's install this. This is, like I said, this is only temporary. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of solder down here. Let's make sure that I can be. Okay, so I'm going to put some solder right here just to, so I can use this. Hold up the capacitor. Right. So one down. Oh shoot. Okay, so there we go. One of them. And then here we go for the other one. Okay. Alright. Okay, so this. Okay, so that's that. Alright. So let's turn this thing on. Let's turn and plug this VCR in and see what happens when we plug it in. Okay, I'm going to just turn this over for now. Remember, the drum was causing us a lot of grief. It wasn't spinning fast enough. Let's see what happens when we plug it in. Okay, so it's plugged in. Let me just turn on the power. No, it doesn't spin any faster. It spins just the same. Okay, let's see what happens when I put a tape in. Okay, so maybe some of the other capacitors need to be dealt with as well. No different. No different. Okay, so I'm going to check the tape. Yep, and it's still causing this leftover tape inside the VCR. Okay, let me switch it around on the other side, because remember, the server was spinning kind of funny, and it's still spinning kind of funny. Right. See? Yeah, spinning unnecessarily. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's spinning fast now. Wow. Oh, that's pretty good. It spun really fast. There we go. That's how fast it's supposed to be spinning. But there's nothing in there. So that 4.7 microfarad 25 volt capacitor definitely needed to be changed. Look how fast it's spinning now. Woo, look at that. Music to my ears. Okay, let me just dim it down a bit. Okay, turn it on. Look how fast that spinning is happening. Let me just zoom in. Okay, remember how it was spinning before? Turn it off and turn it back on again. So I turned it off. Look how fast that thing is spinning. Okay, let's see what happens when I put a tape in there this time, now that it's spinning at the speed that it's supposed to be spinning. Okay, so it's on. I'm going to put the tape in. Oh shit, it's working now. It's noisy. Let's see what happens when I eject. What? That was it. It seems to be working now. Let's see what happened. Let's see what's going on the other side. It's not doing that weird stuff. I just need to get the proper belt, and then, because this belt is more than likely slipping, so I need to put the proper belt in there. Okay, so I'm gonna put on, there's a thing that goes over this right here, over here, so I'm gonna put that back on. Okay, so I'm going to put on back the bracket, so I had to open this up. in order to get to the insides. So now the bracket's going to go back on. Okay. That's one screw. And grab the other two. There's the other screw. Okay, and then there's one more. Okay. Okay. All right. And I just need to put, I'm waiting for this belt. This is not the right belt. It's supposed to be a 2 millimeter thick belt. This is obviously not the right belt. But I'm going to leave this on here for now, since I don't have a better alternative. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the belt. So this is like probably a 1 millimeter belt. It's supposed to have a 2 millimeter belt. But I haven't received it yet, and it's in the mail, so that's it for now. Okay, I'm going to put the back cover back on, and then we'll take it from there. So this is the back cover. I think it goes this way. Okay. Or should I say the bottom cover? Okay, so there's a bunch of screws. Just back up a little bit so that we can have a better view of what I'm doing. All right. Okay, that's better. Okay, so it doesn't seem like I'm in the dark. So take this one. Oops. Okay, there's these little things at the side that kind of hold everything in place. Okay. All right, so that's that. Put this over here. Okay, there's that. Okay, I got two more screws. Okay. This one goes here. Or maybe that one wasn't. There's one of them that didn't. Okay, I think it's. Okay, this one hadn't been used in a while, so. Okay. I'll use this one instead. Yeah, we're missing one. Okay. And then the feet Okay. Feet need to get put on. Get, yeah, the feet are kind of tricky to get back on. I think somehow like this. What the hell is wrong with this? The feet are specific to each side. There we go. All right. Okay. Put in the other feet. What the hell? Okay. Okay. I wouldn't imagine that feet were made to be sided, but it looks like as if one foot is for the left and one foot is for the right. Okay, so it's the bottom cover is back on. So let's, well, it was on the whole time. Didn't realize that. Okay. Look how beautiful that sounds and looks. So let me put this in and see what happens. Okay. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. Yep. And it is spinning like it should. Perfect. Everything seems to be moving like it should. Certainly wasn't doing that earlier. And look at it now. Perfect. So that's all it was. It was just those two capacitors. Right. I didn't think the capacitor would make that much of a difference, but I guess it does. And so now it's just like working perfectly. It has a newfound life. The only thing that I need to do is just to replace that 6.2 that 33 microfarad 10 volt the 6.3 sorry this yeah the 6.3 volt 33 microfarad capacitor. I have to actually replace it with a 10 volt capacitor because I don't know how long that capacitor is going to last, but it needs to be replaced eventually. Alright, so success. So something that seemed like as if it was something else, it actually turned out to be just a bunch of capacitors. Okay, that's it.